Alright guys, this video is going to be a little bit different than my normal rail fanning videos. This one's basically, I'm going to talk about an article that I saw the other day. And basically, we have an opportunity to create the Southern Pacific again. And here's how. So, Union Pacific and Norfolk Southern are allegedly in talks for possible merger ideas. Obviously, it's so early, it's too soon. It cannot happen. I mean, they're just in talks. There's no deals or anything like that that have been reached, at least according to the article. But they're talking, so there's the possibility there. And of course, even if they do end up talking, come up with a deal, they still have to get it approved through the Surface Transportation Board, which, if I remember correctly from the last article I'm reading, they're going to have much more stricter rules and regulations to meet compared to the CP and KCS merger. Because from what I've been reading, I don't understand all these rules thoroughly. So, like I said, this is just an uneducated opinion and just me having hopes and dreams. And like I said, none of this is, don't take all this as like, oh, you said, no. So basically, if I remember correctly, the CP and KCS merger was allowed under old regulation rules, like I think pre-2001 merger rules, which I don't know what the difference is, but I think this UP-NS, and I could be wrong, probably has to meet stricter rules. And obviously the biggest thing is now you have a West Class 1 railroad trying to merge with the Eastern Class 1, and the biggest argument is competition and service rates and service disruptions and stuff like that. So, and obviously anytime this happens, as we saw with the whole KCS thing, the other Class 1s are probably going to file briefs against it, so that it has to overcome those hurdles. And maybe, who knows, like maybe we'll see another two men fighting over a prostitute, with CP and CN fighting over KCS. You know, she was the Southern Belle, Lady of the Evening, and the CP and CN were the two dudes getting a bar fight over her. I don't know. That's the best analogy I can come with. It is what it is. I came up with it like three and a half seconds ago. So, but anyways, so we'll see what happens there. But my idea is, just to be in fairness, now, Union Pacific, if anyone pays attention to the history of the Union Pacific, every single time they've merged with someone, the other company basically takes Union Pacific's name. So I don't know if Union Pacific just like basically bullies them into submission, or, you know, smothers them with a pillow and basically says, oh, you're gonna be Union Pacific whether you like it or not. Or maybe, I don't know. I do know on their website they love to mention that their company was created by Abraham Lincoln in the signing of the Pacific Railway Act of 1862. And I know some of the UP fans and loyalists will be like, yeah, it's the most important. We were created by that, you know, Abraham Lincoln, which nothing against Abraham Lincoln and nothing against that. But to me, okay, it's time to stop using that excuse. Like, don't get me wrong, I like history. It's cool and all that stuff, but y'all basically obliterated the history of other railroads. And another thing, so like, now obviously there's been a lot of Class 1s have just become other, you know, submitted to other Class 1s, but lately it's like, you know, BN, which was a big ass railroad, and Santa Fe, which is a big ass railroad, they merged and became BNSF, which I know there's a lot of BN guys and Santa Fe guys who are still butthurt about that, because their pride and joy is no longer its own self-identity. But what I do think is, hey, you still have the remnants there. You still have BNSF, so you can still see it's still, the heritage is still there. Same thing with CSX. You had Chessie System and Seaboard, and they merged, and so you still have the C for Chessie and the S for Seaboard. And same thing with NS. You had Norfolk and Western and Southern. You have Norfolk Southern, so it makes sense. Union Pacific has been basically the only one that I know of, and like I said, I could be wrong. The only one I know that somehow has always managed to merge with other people unscathed, and it's about time that we end that shit now. So, sorry UP guys, not here to piss you off, but I also grew up with UP, so I have a love-hate relationship with UP, because I love them, because that's what I grew up with, but I also grew up with Southern Pacific. And so when I was 9 is when SP and UP merged. And as I still can't remember the guy's name on YouTube, he does his own rail fan videos off of Tehachapi. hopefully, I'm pretty sure someone here knows him. But he worked for Southern Pacific, and he also ended up working for Union Pacific once Southern Pacific merged with Union Pacific. But I always liked his saying. I don't know if this was actually sounds like a joke, but who knows? It could be actually true. But he always talked about when Southern Pacific and Union Pacific merged, Union Pacific basically said, "Oh, we're going to take the front part of our name, and we'll take the back part of Southern Pacific's name. So they're going to take the Union from Union Pacific and the Pacific from Southern Pacific, and it's going to merge. And it's, oh, what do you know? It's still Union Pacific." So I thought that was kind of funny. And but anyways, so we may have an opportunity here if the UP management doesn't want to be total buttholes. We have an opportunity to bring back Southern Pacific, which, like I said, it probably ain't going to happen, but one can dream, and I'm going to. So, like I said, if Union Pacific and NS decide, hey, let's go ahead and consummate this marriage, out of fairness, we can take the back half of both companies' names, and since NS is alphabetically first, N comes before U, in case you didn't know. I know some people can't read, or, hooked on phonics didn't work for y'all. N comes before U. And so we'll take the back half of Norfolk Southern, which is Southern, and then we'll take the back half of Union Pacific, which is Pacific, and you combine them, and what do you get? Ding, 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 Southern Pacific. You know what's cool about that, too, is that means if they do that merger and they do that way, they don't have to do any thinking. They don't have to worry about, what logos become. We already have the logos. We already have the templates. Just dust that other shit off out of the cabinet, bring back that speed lettering, bring back that bloody nose in the gray. And, if you want to do your own, touch of, well, this is Southern Pacific 2.0, okay, cool. So we'll take the blue wings that, Union Pacific had on the front of their locomotives, which they discontinued a few years ago with their new paint scheme, which I don't get why they did that. That was fucking stupid. The wings were freaking awesome. I get why y'all moved the American flag off the long hood to the nose, but I don't get why y'all took the wings away. But anyways, tangent, this is not geometry, so we don't need to go off on tangents. But anyways, take those blue wings off the front of the Union Pacific locomotives, attach it to the horse that's on the front of the Norfolk Southern locomotives, and what do you have? You have a Pegasus. And so you can have a freaking flying horse with speed lettering as your company logo, and you can bring back Southern Pacific, whereas the people in the South will say, Southern Pacific rise again. So anyways, that's my idea. But also, Union Pacific, if you're listening, I need you to reopen Tennessee Pass, because that line is freaking awesome, and we need to have the Minturn helpers again. Let's get back to actual authentic mountain railroading. And also, while you're at it, if you buy Norfolk Southern, I need you to unsell that Saluda grade shit and get that back in service too, and get some of those helpers run up those grades again. Yes, so I know I have a lot of pull. I don't know if you know this, Union Pacific, but I have 47 subscribers. So I have 47 people who are dumb enough to listen to my opinion. So therefore, you need to do what I say. So we're going to, like I said, we're going to embrace your heritage, but we're going to bring back that SP stuff. Everything's already set up, ready to go. It's not like you have to figure anything out. Merger talks are done. You're going to reopen Tennessee Pass. We're going to reopen the Minturn stuff. And we're gonna make railroading great again, okay? Yeah. You're welcome, UP. Did you a favor.
What the fuck was that?